want to make a new video of our kit cars, and this particular one that you're looking at right now has the pre-assembly option. Normally you would get this in a box, all these parts separately, but in this particular case this customer bought the assembly option, so the car is a nice reference point on where to start building your own car, as opposed to a lot of little boxes with a lot of little parts in it. So we're going to walk you through the kit today, the specifics of our kit. We're going to talk about some of the construction techniques and the design elements of this car that make it a little different and a lot better handling, riding, braking, a much more responsive dynamic car than a typical T-bucket. So let's start generically by looking at the car. And you can see that one of the first things that you notice is how low this body is mounted in the frame. And that's because we have a designed-in double kick frame. We have a drop in the front and we have a drop in the back. And this allows us to set the body on top of the frame rails and maximizes the interior space. And this also provides a very low center of gravity for the car and makes it one of the reasons why it makes it so safe and stable when you're driving it. Another thing about once we've designed this frame, came up with this idea, is our suspension components. All of our suspension components were designed to fit our frame. You could not realistically buy our frame and then put someone else's ladder bars in it, radius rods in it, drag link in it, because there's unique links that were designed with this frame in order to minimize any problems with the dynamic response of the front and the rear suspensions. As an example, and it's similar to the front and the back, because of the length of the radius rod, and they were actually pretty long, the length of the drag link plus its positioning in line with the radius rod, both front and rear for attachment points, we get no bump steer of any nature throughout the entire suspension travel. We also, our 4.5 movement of the axle is less than 1/8 of an inch. And we've laid these out, swung these points and measured them. There's less than 1/8 of an inch 4.5 movement, which is important from the standpoint that the polyurethane bushings that are locked into the spring perch and the spring themselves have very little give in them, and the straighter that you can make that go up and down, the less friction there is. Now when you have less friction, you have a better ride. You induce friction into these bushing areas, it just makes the ride harsh. The other thing that we do, which was a little bit of a task, was to locate a shock absorber that actually deals with the weight of our car. A complete car, engine, trans, fluids, is about 1,750 pounds roughly. And we have a 52 front, 48 rear weight. It's almost split, which is nice for the overall handling characteristics. But finding a shock absorber that can deal with that small of a weight was a little difficult, but we found one. It works really well and we're very, very happy with it. When you buy the kit, as you see here, all of these parts, as we discussed earlier, you get, plus what Tom showed on the table over there. And we'll walk through the table parts in a second so that we understand them. But you get a full disc brake setup. These are 11-inch rotors, and this is a large diameter single piston floating caliper. More than enough brake for this vehicle. These are enough brakes for a 35 to 4,200 pound vehicle. This is plenty of brake. The frames are completely TIG welded. Areas that may experience a little flexing and bending have been protected by, on the inside, we have a doubler down here, which helps protect this welded joint. We also have a gusset underneath here under the front, which helps protect this joint. Our brake system, though it's installed in this car, would be in a bunch of boxes for you in a box. When you order the pre-assembly thing, everything's put together with all the washers, the wheel bearings are greased, everything's assembled. All you have to do really is unbolt these large units, set them aside, paint your stuff, put it back on, you're ready to go. The tabs that hold the whip hoses in place and the little clips, all of that's part of the kit and certainly installed once you buy the assembly option. The wheels are part of the kit because they're a specific offset that we use. The tires we sell as an option. These are the same tires that we offer on our turnkey cars, and they're very affordable. You can look at our website and get the prices on those. Something that probably good to talk a little bit about the safety aspect, because we do say in our brochures that this is a complete, affordable, safe, and cool car. Safety is a big issue to Tom and I, and certain elements of this car are really protected. One of them is the impact joints in both the front and rear suspensions that take the load, the real load, when you impact something, be it a pothole or something in the road. And this joint down here on the radius rod where everything is coming into the frame, that's a 4130 chromoly rod end, and the ability of that rod end to absorb load is about 3 times what the car can actually generate. We do the same thing on the front of the rear suspension ladder bar. This is also a 4130 chromoly rod end, and it again can absorb a lot more force or load than the car can generate. We also include a safety tab on our ladder bars, and in the final assembly there'll be a lock nut, nylock lock nut on this side. Left that off because this has to come apart for painting, but this is all very specific, very put together, and it will never come apart. This thing will last a lifetime. Cooling system. We provide a mounted radiator on the pre-assembled kit. Certainly you get the radiator with the kit. All your mounting points are in place. It's a simple bolt-in. Your grill shell, which is part of the kit, also is a bolt-in. We do shorten the grill shell to fit this car. We have to take about 3.5 inches out of it. Otherwise it would almost be dragging on the ground. So we do cut the grill shell down, and you get a grill shell and a radiator with your kit. Everything in the car that we've talked about so far is a brand new part. There are 2 used components in the car. One is the front axle, which is an original Ford Motor Company axle, and we qualify these axles for twist, straightness, and alignment, correct them before they're put on the car. But that is an original vintage axle from an early Ford product. The other used item in the car is the rear axle assembly, which is an S10 pickup truck rear axle. We use them because they're plenty strong, are affordable for this type of a build process, and are the correct width for the car. We open the guts up, dump the fluid out, we check the internals, make sure that they're okay. All the wheel seals, axle shaft seals, pinion seal, all that's replaced. Any bearings that need to be replaced get replaced. Axle shafts that need to get replaced get replaced. So your rear axle is good to go. It's renewed. If there's any questionable parts, they're all replaced.